what a surprise this day has been. Hi, Simbo.
Hi, Isabel. How are you?
I am doing. I'm not sure. Let's be real, okay, guys in the audience. Let's be real.
Reality check.
So today it's been. It seems to be like it was quite a day for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I threatened Mike's life and told him that he needed to take a day off because if not, it's going to cost him highly. And I don't want that for him because I love him. He's my friend. So I said, Mike, take the night off. If I see you in the comment section, I'm gonna fly over to Kentucky and force you to take a bath with a toaster. And so so he's been, guys in the audience, Hans member, listen to me. Mike loves all of you. Please, if you have his phone number, don't bug him. He needs the night off. Like he needs to go to Atlantic City and get drunk, but he can't. Okay, so because he don't drink no more. So give him the night off. Trust that he's doing okay. He just needed a night off. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then our great guest, Russ, shows up. He says, oh, it's been an interesting afternoon. So I can't wait to hear how his day is going because, as you all know, guys, Russ is the most positive person on earth. And then I scratched myself today. I had so in my backyard 2 weeks ago, I had an electric fire. So lightning came down on a big branch, like 6 or 7 diameters. The branch fell on the electric wire. Then all the rest of the tree fell on the roof of my shed, and it caught fire, and it was just nuts. And so yeah, it was very scary actually for a minute. So don't worry, no harm, no foul. Everything is done. But this big branch was in my backyard. The tree doesn't belong to me. Blah 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 blah. And now today I had to go over to see my backyard neighbor and say, please help me with this big tree because it was 8 feet wide, 5 foot high of now dead wood in my backyard.
That's a lot of branches.
So, yeah.
That's a lot of wood.
So I went over and he's the nicest man. I adore him. He adores me. So I went over, but in order to move the tree on his side so that he can dispose of it whenever, it's convenient for him, I had to remove a fence panel. And this thing fell on my leg and scratched me, like drew blood, scratched me this long from my thigh to the middle of my leg. And I'm not 5'2", so my leg is pretty long, right? So then I go in the house and then Mike calls and I'm like, okay, so I don't know what's going on with the moon and what's going on with Mercury in retrograde, or like, is God angry? I know that doesn't exist, and you know what? I'm here with you. I'm here with all the beautiful people in the audience that are already here. I'm here with D. Scott, that I adore, even if I barely know. I'm here with my great buddy, Russ Hedge, that I already love from our first conversation.
Right.
How can this go wrong?
Hopefully it doesn't go wrong, but you know what? It's in the air. So if it goes wrong, we're just going to roll with it and have fun.
That's right. So now how was your day? Talk to me about your day, huh? Was your day any better?
No, it was not better. It kept on with the theme of everything else.
That's beautiful.
But I did get to sit in with Steve Lowell and Brandface with their presentation, which was magnificent. And you were there. Thank you. And if y'all don't know Steve Lowell, y'all, I always say it wrong. If y'all don't know him, go check him out. He's got amazing stuff, and of course, so does Brand Face. So
yeah,
it
was a great live. It really was a great live. And guys in the audience, I mean, go on Brand Face, go on Tanya's LinkedIn page or on Brand Face YouTube, and it's all there. Just go watch it. So, Sindel Beautiful, how about we roll the intro and then we talk about our sponsors?
Let's do this.
Let's get that done.
If I can find the button.
We're on theme, people.
Are you looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high-level, heart-centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbranner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
So, obviously, we're going to have some difficulties until the end of this show, and we're just going to deal with it. So, honey, are you okay with our sponsors, or do we need to bring our guests up right now?
Let me see.
Let's try.
You know what? We're gonna
do
this. We're doing this. Here we go. All right. Oh, I can't do that.
Yeah, do share up top. Go up top in your Canva. Go up top and say share and press present. It should be down.
I'm doing the wrong button.
No, present. Top left.
Where's my left?
Yay! We got it.
All right.
That's all right. All right. You need to click something because we don't see it all.
You don't see it all.
No, we see presenters there it is. Beautiful. Claire Davis.
Here we go. We've got Traction Resume. This is Claire Davis. Y'all scan that QR code, especially if you are a healthcare or a medical professional who needs help with their resume writing and job search. Claire Davis is the one to go to. And
she is such a lovely human being to boot. So that's an even better reason to deal with her is that she's the nicest person. And speaking of being a nice person, I believe she kind of played the trick on our friend Mike.
Oh, yeah, she did. Let's check it out.
She sent him some socks. And, of course, Mike would go in the backyard with wearing socks and sandals and make a fool of himself because, that's what he does.
Oh, I see the sandals now. I didn't see that at first. Oh.
Yeah, of course, like a real redneck, wearing his socks and his sandals.
Ah, man, those are some nice socks, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And they suit. He doesn't even wear socks, but that's even better.
Oh man, Claire, this was awesome.
It was.
Oh, and we've got the 50 inspirational LinkedIn connections. Scan the QR code and apply now. Guys, last year was insane. This year is like uber insane.
It is. And it is all the beautiful Dr. Constance Leyland, my favorite sister, CJ, and Level Up Academy. And we love CJ. And CJ, if she has half an hour off, she starts a magazine or a TV show or something like that. She's such an incredible human being. And if you don't know Level Up Academy, you are missing out. So scan that code right now. Go check her out. Go follow her YouTube, which has an insane amount of viewers and so many shows per week. Seriously, go check out Level Up Academy. And last but not least,
We have. Oh, really? You're not gonna work.
We're doing fine.
We're doing fine. It's not working. Do we go
That's
to
okay. What's happening?
It's not moving.
Ah,
Oh. Okay. We'll stop
Oh.
sharing.
yeah. Do it. Get it down, and we'll share it again. So let's talk about them, even if we can't shine the. While you're looking for the button, the last sponsors is Brand Face, and that's Tanya and Michael Carr. They do all the branding for the hounds. They do my branding. They do Mike's branding. They work tirelessly. They even hired this beautiful woman right here on stage to do the you do all the social media for the podcast, correct?
I do social media, and I'm also their podcast manager, which has been amazing and fantastic. And I'm learning so much. And that isn't, I'm not able to find the thing.
That's
y'all.
okay. That's all right. You can share it in the excuse me. You can share it in the comment section and go put their promo there, their QR code there. And yeah, Be Bold Branding is their podcast name. They are fantastic. They truly are fantastic. Their podcast lasts between 15 to 30 minutes and so much information. Seriously, anything that has to do with sales, marketing, branding, go listen to them. They are both awesome. Guys, thank you in the audience. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I know you're expecting a redneck and you're getting a Canadian, but that's what happens.
Well, technically, they're still getting a redneck. So, I mean,
I forget you're a redneck.
It's just,
I forget. Anyway, hey, listen, without further ado, let's bring our boys up. And Sindel, thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up last minute, for being there for me always. And you're my favorite BBB. And it's good that there's only 3 people on this planet that knows what that means. So shout out to Melissa Robinson-Wagmiller in the audience, my other BBB. And thank you.
Perfect timing. Thank you. And I'm going to scoot and let y'all have an awesome conversation. Y'all have fun.
And with these 2 gentlemen, we can't go wrong.
Bye, guys.
Let's go. Let's bring them up.
Hey.
Hello, East.
Hey, woohoo.
Hello, Russ. How are you, gentlemen?
Life
Good.
is good.
Life is good. Yeah, you know,
Life-
when you said it's been, I told you it had been quite an afternoon. It's been amazingly good, but
Wonderful.
moving at a pace that as I age, I can't always keep up with. My brain thinks I can keep up with it, but my body is like, hang on. All right. So
Well, I was just thinking about as you're going through the different items, issues, whatever's happening this afternoon. I do think that it is the imperfections that make life interesting, right? So if I was skiing and I came back and told Russ, yeah, I went up to Mount Hood and I skied and I got on the chair and then I rode up and then I came down and then I got on the chair again. I did it and I, back over. No. It's like, yeah, I got on the chair and I rode up and I'm coming around the mountain and then I get this turn, right? It's the imperfections that make life interesting.
Absolutely.
yes.
And it's so funny. It's so funny you say that, Scott, because the other day I was having a conversation with a client and he was kind of wishing for peace. And I understand that. Sometimes life just gets too much and we just want a moment to retreat and peace. And I was kind of doing that work with him. And I said, well, imagine it's, 80 degrees. What's your favorite weather? He says, oh, sunlight, cool breeze, 80 degrees. I said, okay, so imagine it's sunlight, beautiful sunlight, not a cloud in the sky, cool breeze, 80 degrees. And it's like that for a week. How do you feel? Oh, it's fantastic. Okay, so it's like that for 3 weeks. How do you feel? He said, oh, it's still fantastic. I said, okay, it's like that for 3 months. He says, well, yeah, but it's going to rain, right? I said, then there you go. You need the rain, you need the storm, you
Yeah,
need,
we need contrast.
I live in Canada. I need the snow. It's the cold of winter that makes me appreciate the summer, right?
Right.
So,
There you
and
go.
that's exactly what the experience of life is.
Yeah. No, that's so true. I think that it is all your perspective through everything you go through, but there is a time, I always say be on the offense. And I am so glad that you made Mike take a breather because we all need an Isabel to make us take a breather. What we really need is to be on the offense of giving yourself space and rest. And my beautiful wife is constantly reminding me when I tell her over and over, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. She goes, no, 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 no. She goes, you're choosing to do that. And so what I decided to choose to do in the later years of my life, for probably the last 15, 20 years, I have gotten up every morning, given myself time and space and quiet and time to process life in the day and time to get my brain ready to go for the day, because we need that, because the day gets a little crazy sometimes. So it's good to start that way.
So let me ask you this then, Ross. When did you discover, or was it a particular event that happened in your life, or was it, just over time that you discovered that you actually needed to give yourself permission to take that time in the morning for yourself? When did that show up in your life?
Well, I think it was like lightning bolt from God. He just one day, the Lord just really impressed on me. You just need to slow down and take time and listen to your beautiful wife who's been telling you for this for the last 10 or 15 years. Because, you think as you grow older, you think you can do a lot more than you can do. And I mean, physically and time wise, you easily overwhelm yourself. Maybe not everybody, but that's what I do. I easily say yes, 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 take on all this stuff, overwhelm. So I really, it was about 15 years ago that I dedicated the mornings to I just get up and I just give it to God, prayer and scripture and journaling and quiet time and exercise and just me time. Even my beautiful wife, other than coming in, giving me a kiss and showing me the cat that she's walking around the house with, other than that, she pretty much just leaves me alone, gives me that time. And then I go out and I walk with my dog, I do some stretching, do something just to really get things. And I really think that was just one of those moments where I was a good boy and I actually listened to what God and my beautiful wife were telling me.
And how about you, Russ? How did something similar ever happen to you where you either had a aha moment or a moment of grace, and you just said, you know what, the way that I've been doing this is maybe not optimal, so I'm going to allow myself and give myself permission to just retreat and go within, either in prayer or meditation or whatever you want to call it, and do this for yourself.
I think you meant Scott on that, right?
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
Yeah,
Did I say
you said Russ.
Well,
But
I'm sorry.
I was going to let the handsome guy talk.
Aw, you're both handsome.
Everybody wants to have eye candy, and I've got Russ. So
Yeah.
life is good. Yeah,
No, I did.
I was laughing on that one.
Yes.
So I back when I was working in banking, it was a job requirement that we use the Franklin Planner. And so we actually went through this training. I don't know, it was all day, 3 days. It was intense. We went through on how to use the Franklin Planner. And the first thing was you start the day off with a win, right? And so the guy that did the training said he always and he actually had a rubber stamp made, and he put it in his planner, because this is the paper analog planner. He put a stamp in there that said solitude and planning. And for years, probably 10 or 12 years for me, I used the Franklin Planner, and that's what I did. I wrote in there solitude and planning. And so you start the day with just by yourself and, reflect. What have I done? What do I plan to do today? What's coming up? and just take that moment, and then you can check it off. And when you check it off, that fires off the endorphins, right? That's the dopamine fires off when you have success, and it causes you to want to do that more. And so I did that. And then a few years ago, my digital calendar let me down. Google let me down. I'm off at the phone rings, and this is like, "Hey, Scott, this is Russ. I thought we were getting together." It's like, "Oh man." And I go like, I cannot let that happen. So I go, well, I'm going to go back to a paper planner, but I'd use Franklin planners, time systems, day runner. I did the, make it yourself in the Moleskin book. None of them did what I wanted. And so I created my own. I created the independent planner. And because it was all about goal tracking. And when you have success and you get to fill in the blank, you get to color it in, that fires off and you want to keep it going. And so that's what I did. I mean, I made my own planner. It's there it
you
is.
do have it. You showed it to me. And
It's the independent planner.
People buy this?
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon,
Oh, that's good.
Ingram Spark. But anyway, there's this whole thing right here. This is the goal tracker, and things that are linked to goals, you get to fill in. You get to put those here in the little boxes. But if you complete it, you get to color
Unpaid
it in.
sponsor.
Right? See, there it is. You get to color it in. Where is it? Where is that?
Scott, Scott's the organized one. See, I mean,
Right.
I get together with Scott. I just am dreaming
Color
to
it
be
in.
Scott sometime when I grow up. I am, because he's organized, he's detailed, he's already, his mind is like 15 steps ahead of me. I'm just the woo happy guy, and Scott's going, slow down and plan. Slow down and plan, Russ.
So that little that tracker, that's what you get to do. And I put a journal in it too, because I like to journal in the morning. And so I have my calendar, I have the journal, all in one book. And this is designed for entrepreneurs. I actually gave one. I used to have these handmade by Trevor Lorking over in England, but it was too much to do it every year. He doesn't have time. He's selling jam jars with his wife. So Trevor Lorking, you can learn about him someday. But anyway, so I just went to Amazon and did an undated version.
You should send one of those planners to Mike.
You should, yeah.
Poor Mike, I think he needs all the tools he can get to get his thoughts organized.
Yeah,
his mind
runs.
Yeah, his mind runs so really quickly. Yeah.
I bought one, Isabel, and I gave it to my daughter because she's organized like Scott. And so I just let Scott keep me organized. That's really what I do. Scott is my planner. And actually, I have to have a digital calendar because I would lose my planner. Years ago,
I do both. It's just a supplement, right? It's a supplement.
I know you do. I'm just saying, when I had my Franklin planner years ago, I kept losing it. So I couldn't do that. So as long as I handle my phone, I'm good.
Well, you know what, Scott, it resonates with me because I need a paper planner. I need to see the entire week. I need to, and of course, with Calendly and with people booking appointments with me on Google and whatever, then I also need the virtual one because that's how they can choose to schedule their time with me. But I need the paper. I need that. I get that.
What I do with paper, Isabel, is I love writing, but I leave it all here by my desk in a neat little spot because that way I can't lose it. Somebody once told me, you must be like type A, really detailed. And I said, you could not be further from the truth. I put it in I have a place for everything and everything for its place so that I don't lose it.
I thought it was a place.
Take it out of the house.
I thought it was a place for everything and everything in a place.
I don't know. I have no idea. Scott, I'm sure what you're saying is right. This is the experience of life we're talking here. This is why Scott and I get along so good. He's the smart one. I'm the crazy one.
And he's the pretty one.
We go great together.
Okay, first of all, I do believe you are both smart. And Melissa Robinson Weinmiller wrote a little earlier in the comments that you are both eye candy. So we're going to go with that. We're going to leave it at that because
you're so sweet. Thank you.
I've handled enough stuff.
We can take up the collection and get her a better monitor.
Yeah. That was hilarious.
Hey,
Say,
and
we're just gonna say thank you as I get close to turning the big 60.
Woo.
Anybody who makes a comment like that, I'm just thankful. My wife still loves me. She still thinks I'm cute. So that's,
there you go. Of course you're cute. Come on now. And I just want to give a shout out to Melissa, who was yesterday found out that she was accepted for her PhD.
Ooh.
So, and by the way, because I hang with really silly people, it's her second. She's working on her second PhD.
Wow.
Yeah. Some people like school more than I. Hey, listen, I don't know the story. How did you guys meet?
Go ahead, Scott. You told it so well this morning.
We both went to Oregon State University at the same time. We graduated on the same day. We walked back in June in 1987, had no clue who each other was. It was 1987. It wasn't until the 90s that we actually met through the Chamber of Commerce. We met at the different networking events. And anyone that has been anywhere near Russ knows that you're going to fall into his kindness gravity well.
Well, I'm telling you, Scott was a blessing and amazing right off the bat. And I thought, how in the world didn't I know this guy at college? But then I realized there were thousands of people that graduated with us. So clearly we couldn't know everybody. And, but it was a really turn for the good for me in business and life meeting Scott, because he's been such an impact on me. Now, the 80s were the greatest decade ever. So it's too bad we didn't meet back then, but the 90s, Scott made it good because then I met Scott and, things moved forward. And we had my daughter and my son in the 90s. So that was good. But no, I mean, Scott and I met and became fast friends quickly. And then there came a point in business when he really pointed and nudged and kind of shoved me into what I'm doing. He's like, listen, this is what you should be doing. And then God said to me, listen to Scott and listen to your wife. This is what you should be doing. So it was kind of a trio all working on me. So yeah.
We met at we had coffee at the New Morning Bakery. That's down 2nd Street in Corvallis. It's a great little place, family-owned business.
October.
And that was October of 2019.
Yeah.
And we said,
never looked back.
Here's some things that you can do to start creating this new business. And then, of course, in March of 2020, the world changed. And those people who had some sort of backup plan could fall to that. Yeah. And one of those was Russ. And the world was changed by Russ and all of his live streaming. And, all it did was amplify what Russ was already doing, right? He was already the king of selfies. Every networking event, you knew you were going to be in a picture with Russ. That's just the way it works.
Hey, and Scott, in the backstage before we started the show, you were talking that something very positive happened to you in February of 2020.
Yeah. So on the screen behind me right here, this is a close-up detail of a game I invented and was co-creator of it was a movement called Hello There Human. And every project that you start, every business that you get involved in, you need to have some sort of a we believe statement, some sort of a base concept. And so with Hello There Human, we started with, in a connected world filled with those longing for connection. And so, and this was back in 2018, something like that. I forget. And so I had this image in my head of these characters, and we don't see any of them here, but we had these different animals. So bears, dog, cat, pig, whatever. And but they all were based on the alien face, that standard pointy chin, almond eyes. And so kind of the concept was that, outside we're different, but deep down we're all the same, right? We all have the same needs. We want to be connected with people. So we called those the visitor companions. And I wrote this backstory for all of them. And basically what happened is, if you were at a coffee shop or something and you that have a sticker on your coffee mug, this happens to be The Experience, which is the new ones from us.
Which
But
is a
it's
great
local.
show, which is a great show.
you
Every
would
Wednesday,
see,
right?
yeah. So if you saw one of the visitor companions, so if I go into the coffee shop and I see Russ has on his computer back or one of the stickers, then I know that he was open to a human to human conversation, just a friendly conversation, right? This is not a dating service. This is just, man, I'm here working in a coffee shop and I'd be happy just to talk to somebody that understands the concept of this human to human. So we created this game. We actually sold 250 of them right off the bat to Oregon State University, and they were using it for orientation with new students to help these students who don't know anybody get to know people. And that game led to me being invited to the New York Toy Fair in February of 2019, which is a fabulous experience. But it was weeks before Manhattan was like ground zero for COVID, and the Javits Center, where the Toy Fair was, became an infirmary.
Oh my God.
It's just crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, New York got hit hard.
Yeah. And I had this vision because, like we're flying out of LaGuardia, and how in the action adventure movies, like there's this huge explosion and the plane comes flying through the fireball and they're all safe and sound. That was us. Because although we were the heart of Manhattan and we were with everybody and we're shaking hands and embracing and we're on the subway and we're doing all this stuff, none of my family got COVID.
Oh my goodness.
So we were like the plane flying out of the fireball.
You were like blessed by God. And I tell you, in that game, I would not need a coffee mug in any coffee shop for people to know that I was approachable, because they don't get a chance. I approached them first. So everybody, look out, here comes Russ.
Were you always like that?
I've always been that way. Yeah. I am my mama's son. She was the happiest person that has ever lived on this earth. And I am just upbeat and happy and positive like her.
Is there ever a time in your life where you want to approach somebody, and because I'm the same way you are, and you want to approach somebody and they're kind of looking at you and kind of like physically not pushing you back, but giving you clear signals that they're not open to this kind of positivity and energy? Like, how do you deal with that?
Oh, yeah. Well, things roll off me very quickly. So to be honest with you, I'm pretty much unoffendable, and I just kind of roll with it. If they're not wanting to be happy and get to know me, it's their loss, and so I just keep moving on. But I have definitely had that happen. Actually, with one of the pastors that we had at our church, when I first met him, he was kind of that way. And I thought, this is really weird for a pastor. And because he was wondering if I was coming in and trying to sell him something because I work for another company, I was just trying to meet him. I've actually had people constantly, even occasionally on LinkedIn, because I just tell everybody, hey, connect with me, let's chat. And they say, well, what's this all about? What's your intention? I just want to meet you. I just want to know about you. That's my only intention, and you do have to watch out though. So I'll tell you a story about my grandmother after I tell you that I just hug everybody. I'm just a hugger, right? And so I'm in a greeters meeting, and occasionally I just hug somebody I don't know. And then I say, oh, hi, I'm Russ, because I just assumed I knew them before that happened. But my grandmother took it to a whole new level. And we warned both my father-in-law and my brother-in-law, the minute they met her, if they did not watch it, she would kiss them right on the lips. She was Norwegian. That was just what she did. It was normal for her. That was just like no big deal. My brother-in-law to this day, I think, is still scarred because he didn't pay attention, and she got him smack dab. And I laughed so hard. I said, dude, I told you, that's my grandma. You just got to watch out. That's where my mom got it from, obviously. And it's the happy Norwegians. That's who we are.
That's beautiful. Are you naturally like that, Scott?
So I am the true ambivert, right? So I get energy by being in groups of people. I love to connect, and then I can go home and not see anybody for a week, and I'm just as happy too. But Russ, so there's two things about Russ. He can't be alone, and he can't stand dead air.
Oh my goodness, that is so true. I have a fear of silence. That is true. Well, except let me back up. I have a fear of silence when I'm with people. When I'm by myself, I love silence. I love the morning. I love the quiet and all of that. I love that. But yes, when I'm with people, I definitely, and yeah, watch out. When I walk into a room, my goal, Scott says you only need to connect with a couple people when you go to a networking event. My goal is to connect and touch every single person in that room. That's just the way I am. And Scott says that's overkill. And I say
and my
most
wife
people that's true. I just am just a crazy extrovert.
Yeah. So
It's okay.
So but another shameless plug. This is business networking, a scientific method, and in here there's actually a 6-step process. So we start off with the brain science about how we connect, and then there's a 6-step process that I go through when you go to networking events. And my recommendation is 2 things. First, go to Taco Bell, and then only take 5 business cards with you. And the reason to go to Taco Bell, and it's funny because working with high school students and college students, when you go to networking events, there often is food, and then you don't eat before you get there, and then the only thing that you're thinking about is where are the hors d'oeuvres,
Food,
and
yes.
you're not focused. So I'm like, hit Taco Bell. It's cheap. You can get something. You probably, if you're careful, you're not wearing it on your shirt when you go in, and then I say, unless you're the speaker, only take 5 business cards, because the goal is not to be like a blackjack dealer and get rid of all of your cards. The deal is you want to make a connection with somebody, right?
But that wouldn't apply to Russ, though.
No.
And it doesn't apply to me.
And introvert, extrovert, right?
Scott writes for everybody else.
I've read so many different articles, and not to dump on the authors, but many of them get commissioned to write, and they get paid based on the number of words. And you can tell. So I read this one article on networking, and the opening line said, "Extroverts are natural networkers."
Yes.
And which is absolutely not true, because extroverts are naturally wanting to be with people. They get energy with people. They don't always connect with people because it's yak, 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 right? Just talking, and they never hear what's going on. The introverts, on the other hand, don't say anything, and they don't connect to anybody. So networking is the connection with people is not about being an introvert or an extrovert. It's about having confidence. And that's the key right there.
And intentionality. See, I think that is where, and maybe this is probably another thing that Scott's taught me, but I definitely, Scott's much older and wiser than I am, but I am.
I am older. I have more rings around me.
There you go. And no, but I mean, it is definitely about, I have learned intentionality over my life, because I have learned that there is a time to listen, which is a good share of the time. And when I was at Oregon State taking classes, they gave us 1 class on listening. Everything else was on speaking. And really, that's backwards. You should have a whole lot more on just being present and listening. And I, to this day, still have to work on that. But I think that I have become much better. I think that, like, if you see Scott's in my interviews, I think I am good in a business setting at normally speaking briefly and listening. I have learned to do that. Now you get me, if it's like you, Isabel and Scott, my really good friends, and you just get the Russ that talks on and on and on and on. But generally, I really try to listen to what others have to say, because that is where you learn and grow with other people and connect.
That's
right, Scott?
No, but it's very interesting, because you guys, I love this because you guys are so different. You see the world differently. You show up in the world differently, and yet you can still love the bejesus out of one another and be there for one another and have a real, true friendship and appreciation of one another. And I find that we live in an extremely polarizing time where if you disagree with somebody, all the algorithms of all of the platforms are going to disassociate one with the other, and everybody is looking for a like-minded individual. And I truly get the need to bond with people, to find our tribe, to find things in common. However, you learn a hell of a lot more by associating with people that don't think like you.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
And you guys
I agree with
aren't the
that.
same. You don't think the same, and yet you can still show up for one another
Yeah.
and truly be who you are, like the individuals that you are, and all of the great qualities of Russ, complements all the great qualities of Scott and vice versa, and that's just beautiful.
We all have our pet peeves, and
Amen.
two of mine are out of the box. I don't want to hear anybody say out of the box because most people forget where that phrase came from. We won't go into that right now.
Oh, I don't know where it
But
comes from.
out of the box, I prefer to say that we need to be we need to be unlimited by artificial boundaries,
Mm,
unconstrained by artificial boundaries. And this is really what happens is that's the box, right? The box is artificial. But the other one, my other pet peeve is the phrase "great minds think alike," which is absolutely not true.
no.
Great minds follow diverse paths to arrive at
Amen.
novel solutions, right?
Yeah.
Diverse paths to arrive at novel solutions.
Yeah. See, that's why I listen to
Amen.
Scott. Scott is just like flowing wisdom to me all the time. I will never use great minds think alike again in my entire life. Scott's never slapped me down on that one, so I must not say it that often. But you know
Well,
what's interesting? I think it's
I understand it's me, right? This is me. This is my
that's what we love
predilection.
about you, Scott.
Not,
What were you gonna say, Ross?
I don't need to impose.
Well, I was gonna say that, you know what, really when it comes to the underlying flow of life, Scott and I really are on the same path. We have the same mindset. But when it comes to how we go about things and what we think about with little details, yes, we are quite different. I think it's like that in a good marriage. You know, your spouse a lot of times is a lot different than you, and that's good because, like
Yeah.
you said, Isabel, you complement each other, right?
Mhm.
Scott and I think, definitely complement each other. Like I said, he's the one that's smart. I'm the one that smiles a lot.
That's
He's the
pretty.
one that's smart and has wisdom. I'm the one that laughs and is goofy. He's the one that's smart. I'm
Russ
the
can
one that just wants to
love
talk to everybody.
everybody, right? Right. Russ, and one of those things. And anyone that knows Russ has woke up in the morning or been walking through the afternoon, and their phone buzzes, and it's a message from Russ. Might be WhatsApp, might be a text message, might be an email. Says, "Hey, I'm just praying for you. Have a great day."
I
Right?
know I get those regularly,
Right?
and
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Nobody but Russ does that.
true.
And it's absolutely beautiful. So one of the things, Isabel, we had mentioned in the green room beforehand was Russ is newly married. I've been married uh, this August 40 years. Russ,
Amazing.
you're what, 38?
Me, I'm
38.
52.
Yeah, you're 38. So you're just you're just I told my
Hey,
wife 40 years, that's a good start, right?
that is
We're
a really good start. And you know what,
getting
Scott? People say 38 and 40 years. Oh my goodness, right?
Yeah.
Check this out. This August, we're celebrating my mother-in-law and father-in-law's 70th wedding
wow.
anniversary.
Yeah. See,
70. Oh my goodness.
and so, and I remember back when we were going through premarital counseling. Now, we lived in separate countries and were engaged for a year. I don't recommend that.
Where did
But
she live?
I was in the Air Force, and I was over in Korea, and
Oh,
she was in Oregon. So we did our premarital counseling by mail and cassette tapes, right? We recorded on cassette tapes. And we went through a book called Before You Say I Do by Gary Smalley. And I remember one of the things that has been helpful in all of our relationships, in my marriage, with the kids, with Russ, and it's voicing expectations, right? So, and let's just say it's the show is coming up, right? We're gonna have a guest, and if I don't tell Russ, oh, I would like to ask this question, or I would like this to happen, right? If I don't voice that to him, or I don't tell my wife, well, this Saturday's coming, this is what I'd like to do. If we get to the end of the show, we get to the end of the weekend, and what I wanted didn't happen, but I didn't say, this is what I want, I have no right
It's
to
on
be
you.
upset.
Yes. Amen and
Right?
hot and
Voice your
hallelujah.
expectations.
Yeah. And I find that most humans don't.
No.
We don't voice what we need in friendship, in any partnership. We don't voice what we need.
Yeah. Because I
I
can say, hey,
have.
we've
I've
got
never.
something coming up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And do it.
Sorry, hon. I think my internet is lagging a little bit, and I apologize.
Ladies first. Go ahead, Isabel.
No, actually, what I was going to say, I've never been married, so I don't know what that's like. My longest friendship, and I've spoken about her very, very often. We've been friends since 1989, and the one thing we have nothing in common other than we're friends. That's the first thing. But the one thing that I think is the explanation as to why we've been friends so long is whenever one of us, it doesn't matter which one, calls the other one and say, oh, blah, 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 this happened, and blah, and he said this, and blah, and she pissed me off, and blah, 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 blah. When we're done, the other person always says, what do you need from me right now? Do you need me to agree with you? Do you need my real opinion? Do you just need to vent and me being quiet? And you know what happens, and I've spoken about this on your show the last time I was on, which was last week. Shameless plug. Go check it out.
Please.
When you're allowed to live what you're living right now, when you give yourself permission, and when the person that you are with is holding that space for you to live the feeling that you are going through right now, 90 seconds later, it's over. So if she calls me or vice versa, and she says, my kids, blah, 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 blah. And I say, what do you need from me right now? And she says, I need you to agree with me. Then the trick is I have to find something I actually agree with, because I can't BS my way through this, right? Mm-hmm. I have to find something in what she just said that I truly agree with. And once that's done, every single time, and it goes both ways, every single time we'll say, okay, now I want to know what you really think about it. Because we were allowed to share. So I'm betting all the money I don't have on, yes, when you're capable of voicing what your need is, more than likely, if you're surrounded by good people, they will actually give it to you if they can. And that's very powerful, I find.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Russ? You've been married 38 years, so I'm guessing you have one or two tricks up your sleeve.
Yes, dear. I just found that, my number one go-to always in a relationship and with my beautiful wife is that nothing is important enough to mess up the amazing relationship we have. And what I mean by amazing is not perfect and not, everything goes perfect all the time, but it's the fact that she loves me, cares for me, listens to me, supports me. And I try to do the same thing. And if there's a disagreement, I always say it's not worth fighting over. Nothing is worth, you end up having disagreements because people are people and people are different. But I say that nothing is worth making a big deal out of when the big deal is that I love you and that's what's important. And I think that's true in friendship. I
Yes.
would tell Scott, there's nothing worth fighting over that that would mess up our friendship and our relationship, because that's to me is so much more important than anything. And yeah, that's on that serious note. I was going to say, Scott, I missed this moment. I don't know if I've told you about Gary Smalley. We're going to talk about that sometime. I'm just going to suffice it to say that Scott seems to like Waco, and Gary Smalley was from Waco. That was where his organization was. And my good friend Jenny Stewart Grove, that you know, was
Yeah.
good family friends with Gary Smalley. So I think I might have told you that story. But
Wow.
anyway,
You
yeah,
never know, right?
he was like a grandpa to her. So yeah,
That's wonderful.
yeah. Anyway, that was just a side note.
Since this show was entitled The Experience of Life, is there any time in your lives, I'm going to start with Scott because I'm giving a lot of room for Russ to speak, and obviously even if I didn't give it to him, he would have taken it. I love you, Russ, you know that.
It's true. Yes, me too.
Is there any moment in your life where you said, oh my God, this is such a load of crap. I don't know how I'm going to carry on. And I'm not necessarily asking if you ever thought about suicide, but was there ever a point in your life where you went, really, this is what life is going to be about?
Well, so I'll tell you. So I mentioned I was in banking. So I was in college studying business, finance, and I had an internship at First Interstate Bank. And so basically, I was like going through their management training program in 9 weeks. But at the time, and remember, this is back in the late 80s, international banking was like the glamorous, sexy thing to do, right? So I arranged to go to Portland, which is about an hour and a half from Oregon State University, go to Portland, downtown to the big white tower, and visit the international banking division. But I'm just a dumb kid, and I don't know how long traffic is going to be. So I don't want to be late. So I show up. I'm like an hour and a half early. So I'm just there in the tower, and I don't know what to do. But like I said, I'm a dumb kid. So I go to the elevator, and I see the button that says executive offices. So I hit the button. The door opens. I climb in. The door closes right up all the way to the top of the First Interstate Bank Tower, and the door opens up, and there's a table with a security guard right there. Happened to be reading a Bible, and he asked, he goes, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Well, I'm a student, got an internship, and arranged to visit the international division, but I didn't know about traffic, so I'm like way early." He was like, "Oh, well, would you like to tour the executive offices?" I'm like, "Yes, I would." Right. So we walk through, and this is banking in the 80s. And so the carpet is like knee deep, just it's quiet. There's art on the wall, there's sculptures. And if you've been in Portland, there's Mount Hood, and there's the Willamette River and all the bridges, and all these windows are like huge pictures looking out across the mountains, the Cascades, and all this stuff, right? And it's quiet. I'd been in bank branches. You know what it's like, retail, blah, 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 right? And I'm like, this is great. And the offices are like 20 by 40, right? I mean, just these huge rooms. And we go into the conference room, and he shows me that. And then we walk by the president's office. And I had done my research, so I knew Bob Ames was the president of the bank. And so security guard, "Would you like to meet Mr. Ames?" I'm like, "Yes, I would." Right. So we go in, and he introduced me. I tell him I'm an intern, shake hands. And I knew, because I did my research, that he was into car racing. And we actually had a mutual family friend. So I mentioned George, and, we talked about cars for a moment, and, he had this connection, right? Well, I left, and I'm thinking, this is where I want to work. I want to work at the top of a building in a big city. Then I graduate, get into banking. I get into this management training program. The very first thing that we do is have lunch with the president in the boardroom. This is a different bank, Security Pacific. And so I'm there, right? It's the president, executive vice president. I reported to the regional manager. There was like 3 of them. I'm right there at the top of the tower. For a year, I live in that environment working with these people. I don't like them. Not one of them was married to the same person they started with. And if you looked at their lifestyles, none of them were going to stay married to the people that they're married to at the moment. Right. And I just like, I don't want to hang out with them. I don't want to spend time with them. And I said, that's it. I am not going to work at the top of a tall building in a big city. And I walked away from it. I just was like, no, this is not who I am.
Well, kudos for seeing it, because most people wouldn't. Right? Most people would say, hey, I've worked all my life with this dream and I'm just going to live it, even if I'm kind of disappointed on how it looks like. Yeah. How about you, Russ? Is there any moment in your life where you thought, this is hard, man. I don't know how I'm going to keep going on?
Well, I did actually hit that wall in my life after being growing up a good kid, great family, awesome parents, went to Oregon State and was a little too social. Let's just put it that way. I got a little too social. I was majoring in the wrong things and not majoring in life, and got a little bit too adult too early. And I did take a moment where I just thought, you know what? I mean, am I ever going to meet somebody that I can marry? Am I ever going to move on? Where this is going? I mean, never like, I want life to be over. It was never like that, but it was just like, I was kind of lost. Yeah. And really, honestly, that's when God came into my life. And that's when my beautiful wife came into my life. She was God's instrument to lead me into a better life. And it was an amazing turn. And she was probably the most impactful. Well, no, not probably. Leah has been the most impactful person in my life ever, and the Lord led me to a life where I had purpose and intention. And I mean, I was instantly in love with her from the moment we met. And we actually got engaged 1 month and 3 weeks after we met. So there you go. We were on the mature plan. We did wait a year before we actually got married. But no, I mean, her family was amazing. My family's amazing, but her family was just amazing. It had a real impact for me spiritually on my life, which was a huge impact. And just really, it was a turnaround very quickly that made all the difference in the world. And we got married and life was amazing. And then I got that office overlooking the Willamette River in a high-rise building in downtown Portland. It was great. But the same thing, Scott, we couldn't get out. Once we had kids and a family, I couldn't get out of Portland fast enough. We couldn't get down to a more calm, relaxed environment where we could focus on the important things of life. Downtown craziness was just too much. It just was kind of cool when you were young, and it seemed like that was the thing to do. And I was the same way. And then I thought, no, I just want to be where I can focus on life priorities and raise a family.
That's beautiful. We're coming to the end of the show, and there's 2 things that I want to ask. Mike usually has a signature question. He ain't here, so I'm going to do what the hell I want. So, so he's unbounded by artificial constraints. So it's okay. So actually, my question is, and I'm going to start with Scott again. What is your favorite word, one word, and why?
Oh, my favorite one word. Wow.
Scott, you can think about it. Russ, you can
go with Russ, because
Scott knows my favorite word.
Okay, so Russ, since Scott needs a little bit of time, Russ, what's your favorite word?
Well, it used to be awesome, but now it's definitely amazing. It's just me and Lion are on the same page. You know what? Amazing. I mean, well, because I truly believe God has given us an amazing, abundant life. And I look at life like it's amazing, even when things are going wrong. And there's, I've had my share of challenges and my family, and people know that, but life is really amazing because God has given us a great, amazing, blessed life. So that's my favorite word, amazing.
And Scott.
All right, so I'll go to. So I don't often come up with like a word of the year, but a couple of years ago it was momentum, and I thought that was good. This year it's actually revolution, and there's different ways to look at it, right? Like upheaval, or things are turning. But I will go with what I had selected for last year, and that is singularity. The word is singularity. And what that means is that a small change or a small effort can have a disproportionate effect, right? So you do one small thing, you don't know how big that can impact somebody. And there's plenty of examples out there, but that's what I recommend is that it's the little things that we do that mean so much. Singularity.
I love both these words. Before I let you go, gentlemen, how do we get a hold of you and what do you do?
Well, let me just tell everybody first. I'll jump in because I always do this. We have the Experience Live with Russ and Scott every Wednesday, 7 a.m.
Amazing show.
There you go.
We have the most remarkable people on the planet on that show.
It. That's
all we choose from. That's
it. That's right. And
you
know what?
Here's one now.
It is every week, 7 a.m. Pacific. And before that, we also do the Experience backstage with our friend Shree out of Houston, Texas at 6:30 a.m. Pacific on the Instagram only. And now on Mondays, we have the Experience Local, Believers in Business, live with Russ and Scott every Monday, which also broadcasts on 2 local radio stations. And they would like us to do more. We only have so much time, though. So we're just having a lot of fun.
Beautiful.
RussHedge.com for me, by the way, and D. Scott Smith for him.
And it's been going through the screen the entire show. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for putting up with me alone. That's not exactly what you signed on for.
Hey, you were awesome.
I'll tell you, it was fun to be on this side of the table.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, and Isabel, you were amazing. It was amazing. It was.
Thank you.
I wish I could pay attention to the comments as I glance over. These are just amazing folks that are making comments, and I just want to say thank you for all the folks. What a great supportive community.
It's the
what a warm welcome.
It's the hound. Thank you to the absolutely phenomenal Sindel Dawn that I love and adore, and she's my BBB, and that's it. And thank you to Mike Ashebranger for listening to me and going to sleep, for crying out loud. And next week is another show. I can't remember. I know somebody's going to be on. Oh yeah, it's Scott Heatman is the guest next week, and I'll be co-host, and hopefully Mike will be hosting. And I love and adore every single one of yous. I love the hounds. I'm a proud card-carrying member, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody. On the outro.
Woohoo!
Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.